the King's Speech.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I am here this evening to provide you with an update on what's happening with the program committee for the RID Region 3 conference. I hope you are all aware of the fact that the Region 3 conference is happening here in Illinois in a town called Lisle in July of this year, 2012, in the summer. It's going to be a 3-day conference, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I think it is the 19th, 20th, and 21st, but those dates could be wrong. Anyways, regardless, it's a regional conference for RID, and Illinois is hosting. It includes, our region includes Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, I think, and Ohio. There's 6 or 7 states in our region. So we're anticipating interpreters coming from all over the Midwest to join us for this conference. I have been fortunate enough to be selected as one of the co-chairs for the program committee. The other co-chair is Tim Mahoney, which many of you may know him. And we have 2 other interpreters on the committee. One, I believe you are familiar with. He is Esteban. And then we have an educational interpreter whose name is Pat. So the 4 of us are tasked with selecting all of the workshops that will be happening concurrently during the 3 days of the conference. According to the master schedule, we have approximately 24 3-hour slots to fill with workshops that we select. The call for proposals went out about mid-January, and they were due Monday the 13th, this past Monday, or last week Monday. About maybe the 10th, February 10th, on Friday, we only had about 20 proposals, and we have 24 slots to fill. So we as a committee were very concerned, but the deadline, as interpreters, we always wait till the last minute. The deadline loomed Monday, and we got about another 40 proposals. Altogether, we have about 75 proposals for workshops that we have to look through to make our selections from. We met this past Saturday and got through about half of them. We discarded about 20 workshops that we didn't like for several reasons. First, the proposal wasn't clear. We weren't really sure exactly what it was that was going to be taught. Or maybe the presenter had never presented before, and we're trying to find presenters who will draw in an audience and bring more interpreters to the conference. Or it could have been due to relevance. In some respects, the workshops appear to be irrelevant, unimportant, workshops that have been taught before, that people have seen before, and again, just would not draw people in. But we did decide on 12 so far that we really liked. And again, I'm getting very excited about this because they're really interesting. As a committee, our focus is to ensure that we provide workshops for all of our constituents. Constituents meaning all of the interpreters in our region who would be coming to this conference. We want to make sure that the workshops themselves are important, that interpreters will gain skills or knowledge from attending these workshops. So as a committee, we're looking very closely at dividing up the workshops we provide to ensure we have lots of basic workshops for student interpreters or new graduates, pre-certified interpreters who have just been in the field for a short time. We also want to make sure that we have intermediate level workshops and advanced level workshops for those seasoned interpreters who have been out in the field for a long time, have attended numerous conferences, plenty of workshops, and those interpreters who have sort of seen it all. We're looking for some new, in-depth workshops that those seasoned interpreters would want to attend as well. So let me give you a little highlight, or I'd like to give you a little highlight on some of those 12 that we're really excited about. The first one, the first proposal I want to talk about is one that was submitted by a woman named Eileen Forrestal, and it's Eileen, and her last name is Forestal. She is a deaf woman who has been teaching ASL classes and workshops for approximately 30 years. She's from out east, and I don't remember exactly the school that she works for, or what state she lives in, but she's very well known in the deaf community. She's proposed a workshop called Deaf Interpreter Curricula Development. And basically, her idea and or her thesis is that the deaf individuals who want to become interpreters have a good, solid curriculum that is taught to them. These deaf interpreters will have to take a written test and a performance test to pass their CDI and become certified deaf interpreters. As it stands, in comparison to hearing students who want to become interpreters, a deaf interpreter's training is minuscule. Hearing interpreting students go through a certification program or an associate's degree program or even a bachelor's degree program in order to become interpreters. Deaf interpreters, or deaf individuals wanting to become certified deaf interpreters, attend workshops or seminars. And I don't remember the exact number of hours or number of workshops that they need, but it is nothing in comparison to what we as hearing interpreters go through. So Eileen's proposal is to develop curriculum that resembles interpreter education program curriculum and make the process similar for deaf interpreters and hearing interpreters. It's cutting edge, it's new, and I think many deaf individuals wanting to become interpreters will be excited about this workshop. it's more of a talk or an overview of her ideas for curriculum. So we decided that we're thinking a poster session, a 2-hour presentation would be best as opposed to a 3-hour workshop because it's more informational than it is skill building. In the summary, the goal is to have this curriculum that's being developed implemented in interpreter education programs so that deaf individuals will be studying right along with hearing individuals to become interpreters. And that's really, really exciting for us. So we're pretty sure we're going to pick that one. We also received a proposal from someone you all may know. His name is Crom Saunders, and he has proposed a workshop on classifiers, and he titled it Creating Classifiers. His workshop proposal, he says, could be either presented in a 3-hour format or a 6-hour format. Now, remember I said we have 24 3-hour slots in our agenda. But we could make some of those 6-hour tracks instead of just 3-hour workshops. Crom's proposal is one we're considering for a 6-hour track, which would mean you'd start the day maybe with his first part of the workshop, have lunch, go to a different workshop, and end the day with the second half of his workshop. Because as we all know, classifiers are a huge part of ASL, as well as interpreting or transliterating. And then we had another proposal submitted that sounded fascinating. The title of it is Situational Ethics. What do you do when no one is looking? And this, again, as a committee, we found to be very fascinating. First of all, because we teach our students, or we learn as interpreters about the CPC and how important it is, we forget sometimes that it's a guideline and we follow it with a strict adherence. When in reality, when no one is looking, we occasionally step up to that line, or we occasionally cross that line of what is considered ethical behavior or not ethical behavior. So to put a workshop together where people can come in and talk about what it is that we do in real life is really important for students and for new interpreters to learn from those seasoned interpreters and to learn that it's okay to use the CPC as a guideline and not follow it strictly. So that one sounded really good. We also had another one, and this is probably the last one I'll talk about tonight. A woman by the name of Judy Cain. It's C-A-I-N. She's from Indianapolis, Indiana. She's a deaf ed teacher in a high school. So she's been working with educational interpreters for years. She's a certified interpreter herself, not just a teacher. She gives workshops all over the country for educational interpreters. And she submitted a proposal that initially sparked our interest because of the title. It's called Don't Get Stuck in the Doo-Doo, D-O-D-O. Don't get stuck in the doo-doo. And basically, it is a discussion on educational ethics. Working in public schools, following the Educational Interpreters Code of Conduct, and how that aligns with the professional CPC, and how interpreters feel stuck sometimes in the middle or in between. Which should they follow? Which shouldn't they follow? Which is more applicable? Again, we felt that a workshop of this type would be extremely beneficial to students, to new interpreters, or interpreters working in educational settings. Statistically, 90% of graduates from interpreter education programs will find themselves employed in a K-12 educational setting for at least the first year or two of their career. So this type of workshop is really relevant. We also have basic workshops on building a better business. We have a workshop proposal on cruise interpreting, and I think it's titled like sleeping with your teammate and eating with your client or something. That sounds fascinating. We have workshops submitted on musical interpreting, medical interpreting, VRS and VRI. It's almost like you name it, and someone submitted a proposal to teach a workshop on it. Anything related to our field. There's another one about mental health interpreting and dealing with clients like with schizophrenia and just fascinating stuff. It's really difficult trying to go through all of them, and just 4 of us on the committee trying to decide what all of the interpreters coming to the conference would want to see. So it's really challenging for us, but it's exciting too. I just have to continue to remind myself that the workshops need to meet the needs of the constituents, and they can't just be what interests me as a seasoned interpreter or what I would like to go to, but I need to make sure that we're selecting workshops that meet all the interpreters' needs in our region. And my last comment on the conference before I close, thank you for being so attentive and listening to me. The conference theme is the journey to find the treasure within. So we're also really focused on finding presenters that are from our own region. Interpreters to interpret the conference that are from our own region. We're really trying to hit that home. It's a regional conference, not a national conference and not a state conference. So we're looking at the deaf individuals, interpreters, deaf interpreters, interpreter education programs, and teachers to make sure that we're meeting all of their needs and that we're pulling out the treasure that exists within our region. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the conference in July.